If I'm being honest, this is quite a dusty job. Okay, this is our horizontal resaw. These are guitar tops or guitar plates. They're ungraded right now, and part of the job that we do is grading, and that's like an important part of making guitar plates. But the other part that we do, and wouldn't have to be us, but it is right now, is we take the sawn blanks. So these have been squared up for us. Like I've squared them up. So squaring it up, even with this little taper here, does a lot of things for our efficiency. So once it's squared up, we have a flat surface we can run our vertical or our horizontal resaw across, and that gets us a minimum of 2 sets, but often it gets us 2.5 or it gets us even 3 sets of guitar plates. If we do it like that, we can keep track of the book matches without actually grading or numbering them, and then do it all at once during the grading process, which improves efficiency, keeps our costs down, and that in turn allows us to provide a product at a more reasonable price for our customers, especially our wholesale customers who are buying in bulk. Taking your split billet and squaring it up gives you an opportunity to be quite efficient at the slicing step. I'll call it slicing. And I've built a couple tools over the years to make slicers, and I've tried various things, and eventually I moved into this category where I just have a horizontal resaw which has a conveyor on it, and that allows us to it just takes a lot of the skill out of slicing this stuff. So our process and our procedure, that's more important, and the steps that we take in what order, that's really important. And the goal is to get a consistent, uniform, maybe 200 to 220 thousandth cut. Doesn't have to be perfect. It can have a little bit of like roughness to it. You know, it's still rough sawn stock. Instead of having to set it on a vertical and push it through by hand and then have all this time where you're just aligning everything, we do all that ahead of time. If I'm being honest, this is quite a dusty job. There's sawdust just blowing around everywhere, and I try and minimize that with water. There's no dust collection on this particular unit. The bottom one ends up just a touch thin. That's just usually because it's got a little bit of fluff from the bandsaw cut. That's the first cut. Things get more consistent after that. We start cutting about 220, 230 thou as we move along here. And every now and then there's a little bit of a thinning. So as we get closer to the end, the top pressure starts to bend the plate a little bit. So it gets a little bit thin, especially on the trailing edge. So I have to, when I'm setting it up, I actually make sure that I keep the sapwood on the leading edge, which is where the blade enters, if possible, and that helps maintain the edge thickness there. And then if it is getting thin, which this one is, it's on the outside part of the instrument. It just means there's a chance of recovering some wood. I'm kind of going for speed over anything else. I mean, consistency obviously is really important, but speed is also important just to make the math work. A percentage of these end up as loss, like especially when it comes to grading. I'll probably only get half of them through. That's just the reality of this, is like you end up with a knot. Where was that? There was one here. You open it up and bam, there's a knot. Or there's a pitch pocket. You know, that's just what wood does. Oh look, another pitch pocket. So all these things basically grade them out, so they're no longer usable as instruments. I mean, I try my best to reduce the amount of tops I'm cutting that are not going to make instruments, but it just happens that 50% of them, they're not instruments, and you don't really find out till the grading, and there's not really anything you can do about it. So my solution is just to cut faster. In this case, it's not really fast, it's just end-to-end cutting. Like the blade is actually moving really slowly through the wood, but that end-to-end processing helps streamline things. And having squared up stock, you know, it takes a second to get everything squared up like this, but once you do, then this step becomes smoother, you know, because I could run it through as a split, as like this one here is, you can see you still got a split edge. But when you do that, like splitting leaves twist still, like you can still see the twist. So in order to deal with that, you just you split your blocks and then you square them up, and you just try your best to get the run out removed. That's what I'm doing. Like there is sometimes, but there always is a little bit. And yeah, once you have a straight edge that's near your split face, you know, that's how you start making guitar tops off of it. And my main focus is on grain orientation, and make sure the grain is vertical on that piece of wood. More than 50% of the tree is not being used. That's just the reality of this, and there's not really anything we can do about that. We just need to understand that and recognize that that's what's happening, and that's why your finished top, you know, if you get a high quality set of wood out of this, it's gonna be worth something. Like it's gonna cost money, because it has to cover the cost of like 2 other sets that didn't make anything. So keep that in mind when you're buying wood and material. Okay, that was our horizontal resaw at work, and this is sort of like how we're manufacturing now when it comes to making guitar tops. I'm not trying to scale up and be a massive distributor. Like I'm not trying to sell 100,000 units in a year. I'm making like 2,000 units. I'm taking the best and setting them aside for, you know, luthiers who want to do mail order. That's available. You can just look us up on our website, mountainvoice.ca, and you can buy a specific top based on what you're seeing there. Or we actually supply to some wholesale operations, and we do, you know, a pallet or 2 pallets at a time, just like 1,000 units at once. We try and do a couple batches of those a year, and that handles our sort of middle grade. It does like the medium stuff, single A, double A, that sort of thing. And then I have all these leftovers that are below that grade, and that's the stuff I have a hard time getting rid of. So if you're interested in just getting a huge pallet of this for wall shingles or, you know, something like that, just give me a shout. Thanks for watching, and that should do it. We'll talk to you in the next one.